Hi guys, and welcome to the graph sections here for the KEFINE Klean and the IEMs that I compared the two. Anyway, we start off straight away with the graph of the KEFINE Klean using the silver nozzle, let's put it that way. And this is the setup that I ended up using the most. It's the setup that agrees the most with my hearing style, with my musical preference. And I think it's very much self-explanatory. I mean, we're talking about. Let me just do one thing here quickly. Anyway, I was just adjusting here the scale on the end so that it would be easier to understand the graph. I mean, many times when we see the graphs, they're all very much stretched out, and we get a one perception of things when in reality it can be a little bit different. But anyway, I've now adjusted it so that I've got everything in 5 dB intervals. And as I was saying, you look at the graph of the Klean, and it's very much, at least for me, an agreeable and easy to like graph. Nice sub-bass focus. A point that I've used recently, as of late, in the last couple of months, as a reference point that kind of hasn't let me down so far. It kind of always gives me a very good perception of what the overall sound is that I can expect. Is I take the 100 hertz area here, okay? I take that point and I compare it to where we have the pinna gain and what is above that. In the upper mids and treble, and that very much dictates, or up to now has been able to dictate to me if the sound will be balanced to my ears. It will be to my satisfaction. And in the case of the Klean with the silver nozzle, yes, it is. We have a sub bass predominance here. But then from the bass into the low mids and so on, everything stays within a nice barrier, let's put it that way. And whatever does protrude above that point that I mentioned earlier there, but corresponding to the upper mids and treble, is just enough for it to give the desired tonality to what is from behind and not overpower it. Okay, we're basically talking about a pinna gain here roughly of 8 dBs, peaking at about 3K, and it's just it's like I said, it's just a very nice, agreeable, easy to listen IEM. The alternative nozzle, the black one, is the one that I've just placed. And yes, the bass remains the same, but it's the way that then the upper mids and treble are done. For those that are more maybe technically inclined and want a more forward presentation, definitely this will be the option. For me, I didn't dislike it at lower volumes, but at higher volumes it just became slightly overly energetic for me, a little bit too much, and I disliked it. It kind of overemphasized things in a manner which wasn't to my 100% satisfaction. Not to mention that the pinna gain now becomes something along the lines of around 11 dBs. Again, it's not that's the issue. There's still a good amount of balance, let's put it that way, but it's just a little bit overly energetic for my ears, like I said. But, and I'll repeat, at lower volumes, I did enjoy that extra amount of detail that I was getting, that extra amount of even airiness that I was getting. I'm going to just take that one away. I'm going to leave just the one with the silver nozzle. And I'm going to now show you a couple of the IEMs that I selected. I'm going to start here with the Deli AE, using the same preferred nozzle that I liked. And you can see there's a lot of similarities. A slightly more bass presence on the Deli AE, and this area here even further let's say smooth it out. Interestingly enough, the difference between the two of them is not as much as you would think from the graph. And let me just throw in here the original Deli for good measure. The original Deli is even more similar in terms of the upper mids and treble to the to the clean, as you can see. Yes, you do notice on the original Deli the presence of that extra bass. It's noticeable, and you do notice that there's perhaps just a little bit less details up top. But overall, I mean, the sound for me, it's right up my alley. It's just what I like. So be it the clean, be it the original, Deli, or be it the Deli AE. I like all of these three IEMs very much. They just agree with me. It's as simple as that. Of the three, if you were to ask me, but Tony, which one do you think makes the most sense? Well, I'll be very honest with you. Between the original Deli and the clean, depending on the fact that you might not want the adjustable nozzles, okay, if you don't want the adjustable nozzles, and if you can get the original Deli at a competitive price, which is almost similar to the clean, I would say you can't go wrong with either. If you now want the adjustable nozzles, then obviously the clean is the clear choice. If on the other hand, or rather, let me repeat that. As for the Deli AE, because of the extra price that it's got, I don't think it's as good a value for money as the Deli, the original one is. So ultimately, the one that kind of comes out ahead in terms of value for money, sound, everything, is the clean, closely followed by the original Deli, and then the Deli AE. Okay, so that's it. Let me just take away these. Okay, and now let's start comparing with some other graphs. I'm going to show you now first the Pandemon. The Pandemon is an interesting one because you would think, I mean, the bass is really nice. This kind of bass execution is a bass execution which is very much along the lines of the MIM Dark Magician, although it doesn't have the same kind of weight. And the reason why it doesn't have the same kind of weight is obviously because we've got a lot more energy here in the upper mids, more pronounced emphasis here on the mids and on the vocals and so on. And that's the biggest thing here when you're comparing the Pandemon to the clean, is that you notice there's a significant amount of less weight to the notes. Plenty of detail up top here, mids, upper mids, and treble. Very nice in this particular area of the spectrum, but it lacks the weight to give certain songs the desired emphasis or the desired dynamism, fun factor. So it becomes more of a linear presentation. Okay, so that's the Pandemon. Next one here is the TRN conch, which, let me just make the color red. And the TRN conch is another one of those IEMs that you look at the graph straight away, and I think it's so self-explanatory that I'm not going to waste too much time. The fact that it's got those adjustable nozzles, it makes it incredible value for money straight away. If I was just comparing, and I mentioned that the issue with TRN is sometimes, or often, more often than none, is the quality control. So as long as you are getting a good unit, which obviously you can only know once you bought it, the conch will satisfy you. I mean, that's the reality. And you listen to the conch and you compare it to the clean. It's not like you're going to see day and night differences. What you will notice in terms of overall difference in sound is the clean is just more polished in its execution, especially in the area of the upper mids and treble. That you notice there's a certain amount of extra polish of just smoother execution of the highs in the clean as compared to the conch. Is it a huge day and night difference? I noticed it, let's put it that way, okay? I'm sure others will, but that's the biggest difference. Under normal circumstances, day-to-day listening, you probably won't pick up on that, okay? Okay, so that's the conch there. The puller, the PA01. This is an IM that, again, you're looking at the graph, and I'm just going to put it in red again so it's easy. It doesn't look not bad or anything, but in terms of the balance that is struck here somehow, although it sounds good and it's a nice sounding IM, it's got a curve which is actually very similar, and I'll just put it up now straight away. It's actually got a curve which is very similar to the TLC, to the T2 DLC. If you look at it, let me just take away the Klean for a second. If you look at the T2 DLC and you look at the puller, they have a very, very similar curve. The difference here is in terms of the low bass. But somehow, and this is the thing that I just sometimes cannot understand or explain even, although you will notice that the puller does have more bass, and that's obvious, okay? So that there's definitely more bass energy. The balance that is struck, okay, makes it sound overall more V-shaped and more sucked out in the mids than the T2 DLC does. The T2 DLC ends up coming across more balanced out, although sometimes it could be a little bit thin. But overall, the T2 DLC, like I mentioned as well earlier, it's a phenomenal IM. Really a very, very nice IM that just went very much under the radar. Comparing those two to the Klean, the Klean has got kind of the middle of the road type of bass execution, although it is a bass execution that is more capable ultimately in terms of overall I wouldn't say cleanliness, but presence of that weightiness of the bass than either the puller and the T2 DLC. And the mids, it's just the one that has the best balance overall. Honestly, it is. Straight away there, I mean, we have again a clear winner. Let me just take away the T2, get that out of the way. Now, let's take away as well the puller. We don't need that anymore. In Awaken Dawn. Very similar in terms of the bass, although yes, there will be a more noticeable presence of the bass. The mids, upper mids and treble, the Klean is better. Overall, the balance in the Dawn is also very nicely done, very, very nicely executed. And although it's got a bigger pin again and everything, you don't really feel that extra energy. It comes across always as being a more warmer type of presentation. I mean, it's again an IM that I can't really fault it, because it is a nice sounding IM, it is. But I think when you compare value for money, versatility of one versus the other, again, the Klean does edge it out, ever so slightly. So it's the one that makes the most sense ultimately. So the Dawn, we can take it away as well. The Pandemon, we actually can take that away as well. Tension for You. Let me show you guys that one. Tension for You, again, very similar presentation overall in terms of the bass, the mids, upper mids. And then up top, there is and there isn't more detail, okay? It will be a little bit dependent on the track that you're listening to. That's the best way I can put it. Overall, the Tension for You, and I really like it, mind you, I really truly like it. The Tension for You, when going back and forth on those songs that I was saying, on those certain tracks that you don't seem to have as much detail as what the graph would lead you to believe, what transpires is a sound that can almost be perceived as being veiled compared to the likes of the Klean or the conch, for example. I mean, if I put here the conch, you will see that these three, I mean, up to 8K, they are basically the same thing. Honestly, you could put this down to driver left and right channel imbalances. That's how similar they are. But you notice that both the conch and the Klean end up being more correct more times. Okay, it's not a big difference, guys, trust me, not a big difference. I mean, I spoke and I speak very highly of the Tantrum. I'm a Tantrum fanboy, I'm not going to deny it. But once again, yes, you do have the tuning switches of the Tantrum that will allow you to tailor, adjust the way that the mids come across. I think that lowering the bass, because that's what the other positions of the switch will do, is a no-go personally myself. This bass is in no way overpowering, as this area here of the mids, upper mids and early treble does have more than enough energy already by it is. So if you actually take away bass, it will make it sound clean and maybe a little bit more sterile. But again, I think the clean is the ultimate one that makes the most sense. Let me see here what I'm forgetting. Let me see here what I'm forgetting. We can take away the Del GAE, we don't need that. We can take away as well the clean with the alternative nozzle. Tension for you, we leave it here for a second still, the control as well. Oh yes, the EPZ, the Q5 Pro, which is the latest one that they've just recently come out with, which is an updated version of the basically the Q5, different shell, slightly different shell, more of a faceplate revamp than anything else, and the driver apparently also is a newer driver. The base execution on either one is about the same. I can't really differentiate them. I do notice the Q5 is a little bit more energetic here in the treble area, but it's always is able to maintain a much more cleaner presentation than, for example, something again like the conch. Once again, I mean, guys, excuse me there, my apologies. Once again, be it the conch, be it the clean, be it the Q5, be it the tension for you, be it the EW200. I mean, these IMs are all very, very similar. The differences are very minor. Trust me, it will be differences that ultimately, like I said many times, are based on what the accessories are of one and the other, what one IM brings versus what the other IM offers. So ultimately dictating the price, and a little bit more of a more polished execution here and there. It's not day and night mind-blowing differences that and basically that to say what, that I mean, however much I like the clean or I like the tension for you, or it's in my ears, my music, my tips that I've selected, maybe you put in the clean in your ears and you say to yourself, say, Tony, you smoking weed or something, bro? I mean, this thing doesn't sound good. It doesn't, I don't think that will happen, but we have to keep always that in our minds. So let's take away these two. The Simgot, the EW200, which is again another very, very popular IM. Again, as you can see, another IM that has a very similar execution to the clean. You do notice the Simgot over here in this area, the upper mids and treble, is a little bit more energetic, and it is energetic in a manner that can sometimes, when you take the Simgot, and like I've said, and I'm going to repeat myself again here, but you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. You take the conch, and you take the Q5 Pro, and you take the tension for you. Okay, guys, you can see where I'm getting there. What I'm getting to, they are very equal. Now the interesting thing is, for example, when I compare the Q5 Pro, which is the one that stands out here in the treble, the Q5 Pro, the funny part is, although it stands out here audibly, it doesn't stand out as much as what the tension, the Simgot does. So let me just take away a few here so you guys can understand. So the Simgot, okay, which is now the one that's in standing out. Let me just take away the clean as well. When I compare the Simgot with the Q5 Pro, the Simgot is able to get away with this, what seems to be an extra amount of treble energy here in a more elegant manner than what the Simgot, the EW200 does. The Simgot, and I guess that's what some people complained about. The Simgot, on certain occasions, if you're not careful, especially with the source, can be just excessive. I wouldn't say excessively, that's a strong word. Can be just bright to the point that it starts sounding unnatural. And that's the thing here that I think differentiates these IMs being so close in their overall curves, is that some will sound more natural, some will sound more colored, okay? And then it depends. You like colored, fine, good for you, that's perfect. If you like more natural, then something like the Klean will be the better choice. Let me see here. Oh yes, I was forgetting now. Here is the XSL, the X1, the famous IM that has the driver of the MIM Dark Magician, number 12. Number 12? Number 12? Is it number 12? Yes, number 12. And this, is one of those IMs that when you look at the graph, again, you get a very quick perception of what it's going to be like. And one of the things that you notice straight away compared to the Klean, it doesn't have, and this is with the setting or the nozzle termination that allows it to have more energy in the upper mids. It doesn't have the same sort of energy that the Klean has, or the others that I mentioned before has in the treble, and that's very noticeable, very audible. So it's a darker presentation. Now, what it does offer is a very, very good bass. The bass is really, really good. It loses nothing to the Klean, honestly. Ultimately, of the two, I think the Klean will again satisfy more because of its overall smoothness. If you like a slightly more forward presentation in the mids, then okay, the XSL. You could argue right with the other nozzles, like for example with this is with the silver nozzle, the XSL, but with the blue nozzle, this comes down. Yes, it does smooth out that forwardness, doesn't make it as maybe, let's almost call it shouty. It isn't, but you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But it also darkens it up. So if you're a person that likes a darker presentation, definitely then the XSL is the one to go. On the opposite end, if you like a more brighter presentation, something like the Simgot, the EW200, or maybe the Conch, or even the Q5 Pro, or better options, or the T2 DLC, or better options. But if you like the middle of the road, kind of does everything nicely, then definitely the Klean is the more viable selection, the options rather, sorry. And then finally here, the one that's the outlier, which is the KZ, the PRX. And again, I mean, I think the graph speaks for itself. The KZ PRX basically is a Klean, but in a planar format, and it very much does everything that the Klean does. The only differences that exist is that you notice the planar ability once you really start cranking it up and giving it some power, because it can definitely take some power. Then you notice that that you have a planar timbre tonality there, but a planar or tonality that is very agreeable. It's not a tonality that's going to be unpleasant or anything of the sort, like unfortunately so many other planars that have been released have. It's got a very nice DD-like type of presentation. And that's it, guys. I know this is a really long video in terms of the graphs, but I wanted to explain things as best as I can, and that's it. All right. Anyway, as always, like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. You take care now. Bye bye.